Dear friends, myself Gitika Aswani, an assistant professor in Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering in ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Welcome to my next lecture. This lecture is about measurement methods and its standards. In the previous lecture, we discussed about just a general introduction for the measurement system, that what do you mean by the physical quantity and what are the various types of physical quantities, fundamental derived quantities. And then we discussed about the generalized measurement system and how this generalized measurement system is useful in various applications in real-time mode. So this all we discussed with taking few examples and the various components used under those block diagrams in the measurement system. So the instrumentation is what? Instrumentation is the collection of all the instruments which are used for the measurement system or for the measuring particular quantity in any application, in any real-time application. So we discussed various types of instruments like mechanical instruments, electrical instruments, and electronic instruments, the limitation of all these instruments, and then what are the classification of the instruments on the basis of like deflection and null type, and their advantages and limitations. And then we discussed about the absolute instruments, secondary instruments. This all we discussed in the previous class. So now in today's class, we will going to discuss measurement methods and its standards. So why is measurement needed? It is required for design of equipment and processes in the process industry and manufacturing units. So wherever in the industry, as we know that so many things are there. So in every era, you can say, in every dimension, you can say that we need to see the measurements for the equipment if we want to design, if we are going for some application, like if I am fabricating some sensor, then for fabricating that sensor, then I need some dimension. I need to do the simulation work in some software. For that, for to do the simulation in the software, I need to work on the 3D model. So if I'm working in the 3D dimension, then I definitely need a certain dimension to be given to that thing which I want to visualize and which I want to test further. After testing, I will see the results, that whether it is coming as per my requirements or not for that particular application which in which area I'm working. So in this way, we can also analyze the performance of that equipment, what we have designed, and how much it is susceptible in the environment. Like if in the summertime, in the winter's time, in the different seasons, that how that instrument is susceptible in that environmental condition, right? So that all things are to be considered, and accordingly the instrument which has been designed is being tested and has to be compared with some standard instrument, with some standard results. If we are matching closer to those results, then we can claim and we can sell that product in the industry, in some companies. So with that features, that our instrument is working in this precise range and with this much of accuracy, with this much of reproducibility. So all those things what we are working is that come under the measurement system. So that's why the measurement is very much important. So it is required for design of equipment and processes in the process industry and manufacturing unit. To improve the efficiency of the product, like I will say that my product which I am designing today, or which I am fabricating my product, so that fabrication process and is very cheaper as compared to the fabrication process available in the market. So the cost of that product which is available in the market is more costlier, rather than the product which I have designed is quite cheaper. So I have to give certain features which make my product distinguishable as the product which is already available in the market. Then only people would be attracted, the companies would be attracted, and they will go for that product. So again, the thing comes to improve the efficiency of the product, to improve the quality of the product. That means I have to do the analysis on the result, on the performance of that product, to maintain the proper operation in the plant, that wherever application in which I want to incorporate that product, so I need to check that whether it is suitable in that environment or not. So the proper operation in the plant, to evaluate the performance, like I want to use the temperature sensor in the boiler unit, in the power plant. So if I want to use the temperature sensor for monitoring the temperature of the boiler unit, so again, I need to check that which type of temperature sensor I'm using there, and what would be the temperature range for which the boiler is working or operating. And for that particular range, is that type of sensor is suitable in that working condition, or it is not suitable? I need to check its limitation, and then accordingly, I will buy that product, right? So then I'll evaluate the performance to establish the standard for customer satisfaction. So obviously, whatever the product has been designed, so how much it has been established in the results or the standards for customer satisfaction. So customer feedback is again important to just improvise your product, to enhance the efficiency and to improve its quality. So the customer satisfaction is very much important. So this is why the measurement is needed. So these are the important factors that we need to see, that why we are giving more emphasis for the measurement system at the start of this subject, that is your electrical measurement and instrumentation, right? Next point come methods for the measurement. What are the various methods for the measurement? So methods for the measurements are different types of methods used. One is direct method, other is indirect method. So what is direct method? The direct method is the unknown quantity is directly compared with some standard. This method is common for the measurement of the physical quantity, like vernier calipers used, scales used for the measurement. So that means the direct method is like directly you have taken that instrument and just done the measurement through it, right? So this is one of the method that through which we can do the measurement. Now the other is indirect method. What is the indirect method? It is obtained by measuring other quantities. Like one method for measurement of the resistance value is you just take the multimeter and do its measurement and see the value what it is displaying there, and you just mention this resistance is of this much of value, right? And another method is just to determine the value of that unknown resistor in the form of Wheatstone bridge. So in the Wheatstone bridge, we'll fix up the value of the other resistors which are very much known to us, and one value which is unknown to us is being denoted with the Rx, right? And rest of all the values are known to us, and one is the variable resistance. Now this Rx value is being measured, and this Rx value is calculated with the help of this equation which we have formed. So this is the indirect method for the measurement, and the direct method is directly you have used the instrument and do the measurement for that value. So like with the help of the multimeter, I've just measured that value, right? Next come measurement standards. What are the measurement standards? So let's see one by one all these standards. First point is of international standards. then primary standards, then secondary standards, and then working standards. So standard of measurements are number one, international standards. So these are defined by international agreement and they represent certain units of measurement to closest possible accuracy. These standards are periodically evaluated and checked by absolute measurements in terms of fundamental units. These standards are maintained at International Bureau of Weights and Measures at France. So, international standards are firstly being formed for the which gives the best closest possible accuracy, right? And these are checked through the absolute measurement in terms of the fundamental units. And thirdly, it is being maintained with the help of the International Bureau of Weight and Measures at France. So this is the certain uh, features for the international standards, right? Now let's see the primary standards. Primary standards, these standards are maintained by national standard laboratories in different parts of the world. That means national laboratories have maintained these standards with the help of some absolute type of instruments there and which are used for the measurement purpose, and these standards are being measured with the help of those instruments. Now these standards represent the fundamental units and some of the derived electrical and mechanical units. They are calibrated independently at each of the national laboratories. So they have their own calibration process, right? And accordingly, it will be done with the help of the international standards. And main function of primary standard is the verification and calibration of secondary standards. So main function of primary standard क्या है? मेन फंक्शन यही है कि जो भी कैलिब्रेशन हो रहा है सेकेंडरी स्टैंडर्ड्स का, दैट हैज टू बी डन अंडर द कंसिडरेशन ऑफ or it has to be taken care by the help of the primary standards, that it has been followed or not, right? So primary standards are being maintained by the national laboratories in different parts of the world. Now what are the secondary standards? These are basic reference standards used in the industrial measurement laboratories, like various industries having their own R&D team and R&D department. So those R&D department for those industry are having certain reference standards which are known as the secondary standards, which are being there in the with the industries. Now these standards are maintained by the particular involved industry and are checked locally against the reference standard available in the area. Secondary standards available in the area are maintained as their calibration is checked by that particular industrial laboratory. These standards are periodically checked, calibrated, and compared against primary standards. So, as I have already told you that primary standards have the main function like to for the verification and calibration of the secondary standards. So secondary standards, whatever being followed in the industries for the measurement purposes in the laboratories, that need to be checked completely by the against the primary standards, that whether those things have been followed or not, or the calibration process is also done with the against the primary standards. So these standards are periodically checked with the help of the primary standards, right? Next comes working standards. These are the principal tools of the measurement laboratory. These are the principal tools which are being used in any lab, and these are used to check and calibrate general laboratory instruments for accuracy and performance, or to perform comparison measurement in industrial applications. So like in schools and in colleges, when we just set up the labs, so the instrument which we place the order to the different manufacturers, so accordingly we have the budget and we see that which manufacturer, which vendor is giving us the things more reliable kit or more reliable instrument in the reasonable price. And what is the maintenance procedure for that vendor? That whether if there is any complaint or the thing which needs to be entertained, so is that vendor is reachable to us or not? So, and what is the market reputation of that vendor? So like all those things to be considered, and these general purpose laboratory instruments which we need to demonstrate to the undergraduate level to the students, or in the schools level laboratory in the physics lab or the chemistry lab. So those instruments which are being purchased, so they are from the general manufacturing manufacturers who are working or who are just designing their own instruments by following certain standards and following the secondary standards, and just selling their product in the market. So this is the working standards, and these working standards are being followed in the colleges or in the you can say in the schools laboratories, because the instrument the purchase of those instruments are not at the very higher side. Like in for R&D purpose, the instrument are generally purchased in lakhs or in crores, because the work which is being done on those instruments is for the research purpose. So the result we need much to be very much reliable and accurate as compared to the demonstration to be given to the students in the undergraduate level or in the +2 level. So this works under the working standard, right? And this secondary standards are being followed by the industries who are having their own R&D labs there. So they keep on check with the primary standards to be followed, and primary standards have their national standard laboratories which maintain these standards, and they keep on check for the verification and calibration of secondary standards, right? So I hope these standards of measurement for all has been clear, that we have the four measurement standard: international standard, primary standards, secondary standards, and working standards. So I have just noted down the features for all the standards which we discussed here. So in this video, we discussed about the measurement standards and what are the different features in the different measurement standards, and then what are the requirements for the measurement, why it is required, and thirdly, that why measurement is needed, what is the importance of it. So certain points I try to explain you under that. So with this, I end my lecture for the measurement standards in the measurement, standards of measurement. And I hope this video would be useful to you, and all the points which I have covered must be clear. So thank you.